Well, good morning. Thank you for being here so we can offer the community more information on the arrest in the murder of 13-year-old Rose Dieujuste. Our homicide detectives have arrested 28-year-old Jerry Durisme for charges of first-degree felony murder. Rose's murder shook our community and our agency. Anytime a child is murdered, we all collectively grieve. I'm a father. Our detectives are all parents, and this is very very hard on them, and of course, the community. And we can't even imagine the pain and anguish that Rose's family and loved ones are going through right now. Um, in the end, this was the result of great detective work, our help from the media partners, and tips from many people in the community. As Rose was senselessly and brutally murdered on July 4th in the apartment complex where she lived. When deputies were called there on July 4th, they found Rose in a closet, partially naked. She had been stabbed and she was barely alive. Unfortunately, she was transported to the hospital where she succumbed to her injuries. So we believe Rose was on her way to visit another friend in another building in that same complex when she was attacked. Her friend found Rose's cell phone and shoes in the staircase in that apartment building and reached out to Rose's family. And a family member was knocking on doors to see if they could find Rose. And then they entered the utility closet and then ultimately found Rose in that closet, attempted CPR and first aid on her, and she was unresponsive. From the beginning of this case, we encountered many people in the community that were very, very cooperative and offered a lot of information. A witness at the complex reported seeing a heavyset male leaving the building where Rose was found. Video from the complex showed a person we now know to be Doris May following at a distance behind Rose as she walked through the complex to her friend's building. At the murder scene, detectives found the packaging of a 12-inch knife believed to be the murder weapon. So an extensive canvass of the area uncovered video from a store nearby that showed Durisme buying that same kitchen knife from the store, the one which was used in the murder. So I want to thank our hardworking detectives who worked tirelessly on this case around the clock. And I want to thank our crime scene investigators and forensics unit for their hard work in the case. We also want to thank our partners at the Florida Department of Law Enforcement who are testing a significant amount of evidence as we still investigate this case. And we want to thank the community. We received many, many tips from the community that helped us lead us to him. And so you've heard me say before that law enforcement, we cannot do it alone. We need the community's help, and this case proves just that. The community really came through. Media really came through for us, putting his picture out there, which ultimately led to his arrest. So Rose, as you can see, is a beautiful young woman. She should not have died this way. And my heart aches for her family and her friends and her loved ones. But what we can do now is, provide justice for this family moving forward. So with that, I will take any questions. Yes. Yes, he does. So he had been arrested for lewd and lascivious behavior on a child. That case was ultimately dropped to child abuse. I'm not sure what time or how much time he served, but he does have a history. Our deputies have come in contact with him recently. We were called about a man walking down the street with a knife. Our deputies were able to de-escalate that situation, have him drop the knife, but he ended up punching three of our deputies. He was ultimately Baker acted uh, as a result of that incident.
Did he have, or any indication that he knew Rose prior to this? Was this completely random?
So he did not know her, but he used to live in that area. He's very familiar with that area. He has frequented that area, and according to people in that area, he has been seen watching girls in that area. So they were definitely concerned about him. But that's other than the lewd and lascivious conduct, and then the Baker Act a few weeks ago, that's been our only contact and knowledge about him.
Sheriff, the fact that he knew where a utility closet was, I'm just curious. Was he a former tenant of this place, or did he ever, if he stayed in this place? Because to know things like that, you've obviously, like you said, you was watching her, but you scouted it out a little bit.
I just know that many people knew that he was familiar with the area. He frequented the area. He got his hair cut from a barber locally there, and he lived in that area. So most likely he was familiar with the complex as well.
Has he been able to say anything? Have you guys got any statement from him about what happened?
So he was arrested yesterday. He was here at the Orange County Sheriff's Office for 8 hours and did not open his mouth one time except to eat.
Do we know if he spent any time in a civil commitment center under the Junior Race Act?
One more time.
Do we know if he spent any time in a civil commitment center under the Junior Race Act?
I'm not sure.
Are you guys testing any sexual assault case?
Yeah, that's correct. So obviously, there is signs of sexual abuse. We cannot confirm that yet. So the Florida Department of Law Enforcement and others are collecting all that evidence to see if there was actually a sexual assault. And we know she was, partially clothed when she was discovered.
Is the respect from Orange County? How long has he been in the area?
He's been in the area, or at least in this country, since 2008.
Where's he from originally?
Haiti.
He does have a history in this area of being more patrolling. Are you able to provide more patrols so that other predators like this aren't able to?
So I would say that we patrol the entire community. We have marked vehicles, unmarked vehicles, motors units, all kinds of law enforcement are in all parts of the county. Certainly, we target areas where we see recent spikes in crime. But I will say, in my 33 years of law enforcement experience, this is a crime that is hard to predict and hard to prevent. That's what's concerning about this. So when our community sees people who are acting strangely and suspicious, they don't need to be afraid. They need to call us and let us know that, hey, we're concerned about this person, and maybe we can do something to prevent something like this from happening.
Sheriff, I don't know if that's a birthmark or not, but did he resist an arrest or get in any kind of altercation with deputies trying to fight an arrest?
There was no resisting in the arrest.
Sheriff, I know this happened on July 4th, and you guys started to put out information for the community to send in tips. Seemed like maybe it took a few days. Were you guys trying to investigate first and then go to the public, or what was the debate?
So in any of these cases, homicide cases specifically, just know that our detectives are really working nonstop around the clock. Obviously, bits and pieces of information are coming in, and specifically in these cases, one of the reasons that we don't always put out all the information is because, remember, we still have to prosecute this case. So when we put out pictures of our suspect, remember the suspect is seeing that too. That gives him time to hide the murder weapon, to hide clothes, and do all that. So we do try and keep that close hold so that our investigation will lead to the best prosecution possible. Now, when we are at a point where we need the community's help, where we were in this case, that's when we will put it out. But just know that our detectives were working on this case nonstop since we got called.
And Sheriff, you mentioned that the community was really helpful in kind of getting this solved. Any sense of how the community has been coping with the loss of a 13-year-old that they knew and recognized?
Yeah, I mean, if you even look at the comments on our social media pages, you could tell the community is upset. We received many tips about him. I know where that person's been seen here. I know his first name is Jerry, and in fact, his father also called us to identify him as well.
Sheriff, were you able to talk directly with the family? How did they react?
I know our detectives and our victim advocates have been in close contact with the family, and obviously, just like any family, they're devastated. I mean, look at that beautiful young girl. We would all be devastated. I think, there's always going to be a sense of, well, at least, someone is being held responsible for this case.
Sure, we know there was a reward, is that reward going to be distributed to one person or maybe a group of people?
The
$5,000 reward?
Yeah, that'll all have to be sorted out by Crime Line, because yes, there were many tips that came in.
Sheriff, I'm just knowing that he was from out of the country, I'm just curious, was he here legally? Was he following all the things? Because he had the arrest prior? Was everything there?
Yeah, it's my understanding that he was here legally since 2008.
Everybody good? Thank you.
Thank you.